CorelDRAW's Impact tool is designed to create dynamic visual effects by adding radial bursts, explosions, or impact-like effects to objects in your design. The Impact tool is intended to give objects a sense of motion, energy, or focus, drawing attention to certain elements of your design. This tool is especially useful for creating attention-grabbing elements like posters, ads, and dynamic illustrations. Two impact effect styles are available: radial and parallel. Radial effects can be used to add perspective or bring focus to a design element. Parallel effects can be used to add energy or signify motion. You can shape the impact effect by adding inner and outer boundaries. To add an impact effect, click the Impact tool in the toolbox. On the property bar, choose Radial or Parallel from the Effect Style list box. Drag in the drawing window. To resize the effect, drag the blue node along its edge. The controls on the property bar let you customize the lines and line spacing in the effect. Angle of rotation. Type a value to specify the angle of the lines in the effect. In this case, parallel style. Rotate the lines around the inner edge, radial style. Note that rotation can be applied to radial effects only if there is an inner boundary to rotate the lines against. You can also randomize line settings for a more natural look. For example, lines can start and end randomly within the boundaries of an effect. To randomize the effect, under Start and End Points, click the button and enable any of the following checkboxes: Random Start Points and Random End Points. When these checkboxes are disabled, all effect lines start and end at the boundary edges. Changing the line width. Under Line Width, type values in the min and the max box to set the minimum and maximum width for the lines in the effect, making sure that the minimum value doesn't exceed the maximum value. Width steps. Set the number of steps between the minimum and maximum width. When the value is 0, there are only two types of lines in the effect: of maximum width and of minimum width. Higher numbers add lines of increasing width between the thinnest and the thickest lines. For example, a value of 2 adds 2 lines between each line of minimum and maximum width. Randomize width order. Click this button to randomize the order of lines in the effect. Lines will no longer appear in a repeating pattern from thinnest to thickest. Line spacing. Type values in the min and max box to set the minimum and maximum amount of space between the lines in the effect. Spacing steps. Set the number of steps between the minimum and maximum line spacing. With a value of 0, there are only two types of spacing between lines: maximum and minimum. Values of 1 and higher create additional types of line spacing. Randomize spacing order. Enable this checkbox to randomize the order of the additional spacing between the minimum and maximum line spacing. Line style. This list box lets you choose a line shape. Widest point. Available for line styles that have varying width. This box lets you set the position of the widest line point. The higher the value, the closer the widest points are to the end points of the lines. You can constrain the effect within inner and outer boundaries by using other objects as reference shapes. The reference objects are not connected to the effect and can be moved, hidden, or deleted without changing the effect appearance. Create an object to create a reference shape. In this case, I'll just use the polyline tool to create a shape around the robot. Position the impact effect behind the reference objects, exactly where you want the effect to appear. To add or remove an inner or outer boundary, click either boundary button and click on the reference shape. Clicking the button again will remove the boundary effect. Once your impact effect has the desired shape, the reference object can be deleted. You can now continue editing your impact effect using the settings on the property bar. The effects are vector objects and can be edited with other tools in CorelDRAW. For example, you can resize, transform, and move an effect the way you would resize, transform, and move any other object in CorelDRAW. You can also use the Shape tool to edit individual lines in the effect. In addition, you can change the line and outline color of the effects. Each time you adjust a setting on the property bar of the Impact tool, the effect is redrawn and some of the changes you made with the vector editing tools may be lost. That is why we recommend that you make additional changes only after you finish adjusting the settings of the impact effect.